And welcome back to more Pikmin! So last time, we collected enough ship parts in the Forest of Hope to gain access to a new area, so this time we'll be exploring the Forest Navel. So for today, we want to have about 15 yellow Pikmin and 70 red Pikmin. While that's not a full group, I want to leave some space for something that will become apparent very shortly. So there does appear to be an onion over there, so we definitely need to leave room to grow some more Pikmin of a new type. And while we go explore, we're gonna leave the Pikmin here to tear down this wall blocking this pathway back to the ship. It appears to be a blue onion this time, so let's see what it's like. So it's in the water, and there are blue pellets all around. There's a ship part over here, by the way, and a new enemy, the bread bug. But let's see what this Pikmin is like. It is a Pikmin of yet another color. Near this one's cheeks is what appears to be a set of gills. This trait suggests to me that this blue type of Pikmin can enter the water without any trouble whatsoever. There's only one way to find out. I will use A to hold one and press B to swap it out and issue it my commands. So, because of the bread bug, we need to be very careful when collecting pellets. Because the bread bug will try to steal pellets from the Pikmin, like so. Luckily, it managed to pull the pellet into the path of the onion. That worked out really perfectly, actually. So yeah, we need 15 blue Pikmin, and while also avoiding losing any pellets to that bread bug. By the way, the dwarf bulborbs are relatives of the bread bugs, and not related to bulborbs. Pretty good disguise, actually. So actually, we want to leave one pellet on the ground. Now that we have more than one blue Pikmin, if you have two Pikmin carrying a one item, the bread bug will be pulled to the onion, so we won't have to worry about it, and it'll even take damage as well. So this is the best way to defeat a bread bug. Now we just have to kind of wait for it to come back. It was unfortunate that it came by when it did, and now is nowhere to be found. So we just kind of have to wait till it returns. In the meantime, there's this 5 pellets, so it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, and this ship part over here is one of our main goals for today. There it is. Just in time, too, because I just got more Pikmin. Alright, so once it latches onto this pellet, we want to basically have a couple Pikmin carry it. And it should take damage as well, so I think this might be a problem, actually. It might have such little damage to it that this might still be enough to take it out. Okay, good. We don't want to defeat the bread bug in water, we want to defeat it on land. Because we won't be raising enough blue Pikmin to carry its treasure back. So now that it's on land, we can safely defeat it. A single throw should be enough to take it out. Thank goodness, by Space Float. This float is an absolute necessity for any pilot who lacks skill at swimming in space. This is optional, by the way. So in this case, we want the Pikmin to carry back the bread bug, but we definitely didn't want to raise 20 plus blue Pikmin today, which is, I think, what this part takes. Yeah, 25. So we're gonna leave that for the red and yellow Pikmin in a bit. Speaking of the red and yellow Pikmin, how are they doing on that wall? I actually didn't catch the chime, so I wasn't sure if they were done or not. These rocks act the same way as grass, by the way, these rocks here. They will drop nectar. So we have a kind of scary ship part here, because right nearby, where this branch is, by the way, the Pikmin can actually interact with the branch like so, right nearby are a bunch of enemies, and I've never had an issue with the enemies, but it makes me nervous that the gear will fall where the enemies spawn, and then I'll just lose a lot of Pikmin when not looking. So when trying to do a deathless run, you want to keep an eye on the numbers. If a number starts to drop, that means your Pikmin are in danger. By the way, something else to keep in mind. Oh, I found the automatic gear. This thing chugs right along at its own pace. It makes piloting much easier, giving me time to concentrate on the finer points of space travel. It's worth noting that you have to be very careful when you have blue Pikmin to dismiss the other types of Pikmin before you head into the water, otherwise they will start drowning. So with only the blue Pikmin, we're going to collect this over here. I found my #1 Ionium jet. Unfortunately, this puts out a slightly odoriferous exhaust, but it does propel me to escape velocity in an instant. The stench is a small price to pay for such performance. Yeah, we don't need the space float because, you know, we're not entering deep water. By the way, there's another part over there. That one we will not be worrying about until much later. So yeah, we've seen 2 optional ship parts at this point. Yeah, we will be collecting all of them, though, for this playthrough. So they're carrying back all this stuff, and in the meantime, there are bridges over here that we can start to unravel. So the Pikmin will automatically turn these into bridges. I'm pretty sure that these bridges can be kind of glitchy, like Pikmin under the bridge when it's being built will actually be crushed, so be very careful about that. Space Float. An excellent swimmer like me has no need for something like this, but my motto is always be prepared. Really, it's just for emergencies. I've now recovered 7 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 5 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. By the way, if we check the radar, there are quite a few parts scattered about this area. Automatic gear. It has thin cracks running through it. I tried to fill them with dirt. I hope it will be alright. I have now recovered 8 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 4 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. Alright, so, the blue Pikmin are still working on that, so they're fine. In the meantime, we are going to work on the bridges. There is one more ship part that I'd like to get today, off in the distance, and the rest of the day will be spent working on walls. There are quite a few ship parts in the water that require large numbers of blue Pikmin, more blue Pikmin than we can realistically get in one day, especially because their onion is so far away. A lot of times I tend to raise the minimum number needed for a part, and then I just kind of leave it alone, because there are better places to raise Pikmin, especially when the onion is so far away. I am missing a red Pikmin somewhere, so we can actually check the map to see where it is. It's over here somewhere. I think. Yeah, there it is. The radar is really good for not leaving Pikmin behind. Otherwise, it can be very easy to lose track of them. I am not using the yellow Pikmin to build this bridge because these enemies, the fiery blowhogs, make me really nervous because they're fire element. Pikmin that are not red Pikmin will catch on fire, so be very careful about that. So yeah, that's the other main attribute of the red Pikmin is fireproof. #1 Ionium Jet. If this is damaged, I'll be in dire straits. I'll have to run a system check as soon as I can. I've now recovered 9 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 3 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. And we actually won't be returning to the Forest Navel right away. I find it better to go to the Forest of Hope after this. Now that we have blue Pikmin, we can get the remaining treasures there. And while a lot of enemies haven't respawned, because enemies do take a few days to respawn, I do prefer to basically not leave too many areas alone if I have defeated some enemies. In this case, we haven't fought any enemies, so there's no enemies to respawn. So another change is that more enemies appear in later days. So in the case of the Forest of Hope, a really annoying enemy starts to appear as the days go by. It's kind of nice to encourage going through speedily, even though it's not really that big of a deal. This enemy isn't too bad, just kind of an inconvenience. But when you're trying to work under time pressure, inconveniences can be a problem. Alright, so this is our last ship part for the day. The rest of the day will be spent working ahead on some other stuff. First of all, I found my gravity jumper. By manipulating the forces of gravity, this key component gives me the final boost I need to make the jump to super light speed. Good thing I found it. Before we actually start to carry it back, I do want to build this bridge. I'm worried about this Pikmin on the end, so I'm gonna call it actually, and just do that. We also have bomb rocks. There are a couple places to get bomb rocks. A lot of them are surrounded by water, so I find this to be the least scary place to get bomb rocks, so I will be collecting them here. There's another wall I'm going to try to break down when we get done with this day, but no guarantees because it's kind of out of the way. Yeah, this is mainly a setup day because the Forest Navel is kind of a tricky area, so I like to have a lot of leeway with the tasks I want to perform. So instead of trying to do all the setup when I'm trying to go for a specific ship part, I find it better to try to tackle multiple things in advance, so it's just a straight shot to the end. Kind of like how I approached the Forest of Hope on the second day. On day 2, I just set up a lot instead of actually actively trying to do all the setup stuff at the same time. So I'm gonna leave this little squad of Pikmin in this corner over here, because there is a wall that I would like to break down, or at least start breaking down in advance. I could use bomb rocks, but bomb rocks right next to a fire-breathing enemy does not sound like a great idea. And because we won't be coming back immediately, I feel like I shouldn't fight that enemy right away. I'm not sure if we'll be back soon enough to justify fighting them. Alright, so we have a mini-boss over there in the distance. So I actually don't know if I want to take down certain walls yet, but a few of them make really good shortcuts. This one is useless, because this bridge doesn't save a whole lot of time. That's fine. We actually could use some flowered blue Pikmin. But this wall here is going to be our first objective, with the bomb Pikmin. Gravity Jumper. This anti-gravity device allows the dolphin to swim gracefully through the sea of stars, like a dolphin. I have now recovered 10 out of 30 parts. If I can find just 2 more, I should be able to increase my ship's capabilities. This raises the question of how does he know what a dolphin is? Because being from an alien planet, do they have an equivalent to dolphins on planet Hocotate? I guess they would. Also, I don't think I got every bomb in that tin can, because I feel like I should have had enough for this. So we might go back. I need to go back anyway, because the Pikmin are working on the wall, so it's no big deal. First of all, there's this little shortcut here. This is great for maneuvering Pikmin, not for parts, obviously, because it's so tiny and narrow. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of congregate them like this, and then swarm it into the nectar to get the most out of it, like so. So, for the sake of keeping track of everyone, I am going to put away the red Pikmin so I can easily remember certain numbers. I'm also going to put away the blue Pikmin. We should have 19 blue Pikmin, counting the bread bug. It's not a lot, but the next day will be spent getting more. Mainly, I want to return to the Forest of Hope just to get more blue Pikmin, so this area will be a lot easier. By the way, like, if a Pikmin is drowning, if a Pikmin is on fire, by the way, those are the enemies I was worried about earlier. If a Pikmin is on fire, whistle at them, and it will cause them to not be on fire somehow. Definitely good to keep in mind, because, in this game in particular, I feel like Pikmin burn a lot more easily, which is really scary. Speaking of scary, that was way too close. Anyway, like I was working on, yeah, that's more like it. That's not enough bomb rocks for what I'd like to do. By the way, I'm not going to maneuver the Pikmin through here because, oh, maybe I should. Basically, if a Pikmin with a bomb rock gets hit by fire, obviously that's really, really bad, so I'm gonna leave them in a relatively secure spot. Gonna round up these Pikmin so I don't leave them behind. And we are going to regroup over here. I actually might not have time to do this. The sun is starting to set. That was scary. I should have enough time, barely. Not if they keep tripping like that. Yeah, setting up shortcuts is really good in this area, because it is kind of a long, winding path to get back to the ship. So having some leeway is good. I actually don't know how many more this takes. I think it's 2 more. That should be enough. There we go. And with our remaining 10 seconds or so, I'm going to try to break down this shortcut as well. This might not happen, but we'll make some progress on it, at least. That was way too close. Pikmin really play with fire with these bomb rocks. And the shortcut is finished. So yeah, pretty productive day 4. Made good progress here. Four days since impact. Deep in the cave I discovered in the forest, I encountered blue Pikmin. These blue fellows have something resembling gills on their cheeks, and they appear to be amphibious, surviving both in water and on land. The wonders of nature never cease to stun me, even in this alien land. So we only got 19 more Pikmin, but they are the blue Pikmin, so now we are free to return to either the impact site or the Forest of Hope to collect the remaining ship parts there. So overall, not bad. So, I think next time, we will be returning to the Forest of Hope. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Pikmin.